eventually they've got to accommodate it.
Yeah, right. Right.
Okay. Can we just test that everybody can hear us? Guy, can you hear us?
Can't hear you.
Can you unmute so we can hear you and make sure you're working?
How's that? I can hear you.
Excellent, thank you.
Who's that below? Is that Brian or Jim? I can't start.
No, that's Peter Zaragoza, I think. Yeah, Peter, he's on the Planning and Zoning Commission and he's been quite interested in the Conservation Commission stuff. And I don't know who this is.
Okay. I thought you had his hand raised, but that's your.
Oh, yes. Ah, that's right.
Can you speak? Can you hear us? Mary Catherine?
Yes, can you hear me?
Thank you.
No?
Yes.
Okay, you can? Okay, good. I'm gonna mute myself again. I
Okay.
think.
Brian, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you.
We can hear you. Thank you. Okay, so regular virtual meeting protocol, please mute your mics until you're going to speak. So good evening. My name is Michael DiLorenzo. I'm the chairman of the Berlin Conservation Commission. As indicated on the agenda for this meeting, this is an in-person meeting with remote access available through Zoom video and conference call. Access information was provided and posted on the town website for commission members, applicants, and other interested persons to participate. So just a repeat of what I kind of just mentioned for those joining remote, please make sure you mute background. Anyways, and, looks like we have, oh, that's Jim Arnold. Hi, Jim. And when it's time for you to speak, we'll ask you to unmute yourself and identify yourself. And we'll try to do it in an orderly fashion so that we go one at a time. So please be patient. 2 reminders: every time you speak, you must state your name and your title for the record. Second, let's not speak over one another. So let's be careful to listen for when what they're being said, and then we can have a clear record for the recording. And then for that reason, we're also going to do a roll call and reminder that this meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the town's website. And Maureen, would you see, will now take attendance by calling the roll. Thank you.
You actually have the roll on the back side of that. So I think that's updated.
Okay,
The current
so
members.
if you are remote, just please unmute and state your name and your title, and then we'll go through it. So Michael DiLorenzo, chairman, is present. Thomas Heisler.
Present.
Guy Hoffman.
Present remotely.
Carl Lewis.
Present.
Joe Mazza. We don't see Joe. I didn't hear from him, so he's not here. Robert Ramsey.
Present.
Robert. Karen Pagliaro. Okay, and Mary Catherine.
Present from Vermont.
Lucky you. And welcome to full commission member status.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm looking forward to doing it in person soon.
Karen Pagliaro.
Yep.
You're present.
Here, present, sorry.
Okay. So thanks. So it's all- Thank you, everybody. Okay, so first order of business is
My agenda.
a audience of citizens, our annual, perennial, how both organizations. And we like to get our audience of citizens on first, and so you guys can go about your things. And Stacy Clark, you were our first entrant, so always the one, right? So if you'd be kind enough to state your name, your organization, and tell us why you're here. That's all.
Sure, thank you. I'm Stacey Clark. I represent the Connecticut Trail Mixers. We are a nonprofit organization. 501c3. Thank you. We're looking to our 3rd race at Ragged Mountain, and it's a last person standing style race where every hour on the hour you run a 5K loop that blue red, blue yellow, blue orange. And at the beginning of the next hour, you line up and do the same thing until the last person stands. And we did it in the past. We've been very successful. No injuries, good, happy runners, and we're hoping that.
Last 2 years. Can you all see that map remotely?
Not yet.
No? You will.
They can in a second. Hold on. Is this, so this, I pulled last year's
Same
information.
thing.
So, and we also have course rules that you had, or the proposal. Is the proposal, add any changes to it?
So really, if that's last year's, I would change the dates. I was going to do that for our next meeting, but I could do that and send it to you as well.
Okay.
So I
think that this isn't on any trail. I believe the trail in the middle that you don't run on has been rerouted. May know that better, but you're not running on that.
No. Oh, you're right, yeah.
And what date? When is it?
The 21st and 22nd.
That's cool. So, bless you. So, so we discuss it here, and if you remember, then it goes through Maureen. This is use of town land, so it's supposed to be council.
Right, it goes to, so the council has to approve the event. So I write up a staff report to go to town council.
So as always, our immediate concerns with the neighbors that are around there, as you all know, parking is very difficult with that area. So how did you handle the parking lot?
Not having the print up in front of me. We parked at the grocery store. Outlets, I guess. And we contacted that owner and we back of the lot and we shuttled. We had about 6 shuttles going across. Friends. And the only people that could park were the 2 race directors and the 2 volunteers at the time. So we did not have any more than 4 cars. We also had some fire trucks, but at part of the station. Have our footprint there. Also, in terms of trail, you're disqualified if you litter on the trails, off trail. We try to be respectful around it too.
And the fire trucks were parked there to block.
They were nervous about it the first year going on the ridge. It was not their main truck, it was a secondary truck. I think they parked there in case something bad happened. So yeah, they had to do that.
And do you notify the neighbors beforehand? So-
Yeah, we're good friends right now. They know we go there every Friday and run, so they know us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well, that's good. Good friends. So, the parking, the shuttles, thing too. So, and so Maureen, also the PD gets notified after the council says that yay.
Yeah, they should be coordinating with the
Yeah,
police department as well, and the fire marshal involved with that.
Okay. And notices on the tree and everything beforehand, like the base.
Yes.
So the road, regular height of the road, like that. All right.
You do this rain or shine, or?
Yeah.
Oh,
Last year was it was fun.
So, yeah. So, and that brings, the only other thing that we always have that consideration of the after event walk through, I guess, or however, to
Definitely.
see what was supposed to, like you mentioned with the rain. I'm sure that there was some things that kind of messy, tied up.
Yes, we do have to do not just maintenance of, not just litter double check, but also we have to make sure that there aren't any mud prints and tear up the trail or widen it at any point. That's what our runners too. You have to run through. We don't care if it's a pond, you have to run through it. Gotta go. Just to be respectful.
Anybody have any questions for Stacy, comments? Carl, you cool?
I'm cool. This is respectful use of the land that we're not worried about these folks.
So, I think we need a motion.
Can I see I'll make the motion. I just have to know what it's called. Okay, well, I'll make a motion to recommend the 3rd annual Trail Mixers 2021 Ragged Mountain.
2022.
2022. Sorry, yes, that's right. Well, I haven't been here since 2019, I think. 2022 Ragged Mountain Last Man Standing Race proposal.
Second. Thank you, Rob. All in favor of that motion? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, so moving as. Stacy, also, do you like, do a press release to the?
The Roanoke Observer, yeah, I have before, the
Yeah.
citizen, yeah.
Get something,
Yeah,
it's cool.
okay.
Yeah, it's great. Sounds like a great event.
How many runners do you expect?
We max at 50. So. Oh, yeah. We always have a wait list.
Not a runner. But
I'm just in awe of people running it.
It's pretty rad. Hey, I coordinated, but I don't have to run it. I'm good to watch it. It's cool.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at how often we go, but again, it's not for people who can run every hour on the hour. It's for
For 24
it's for
hours.
24 hours. It's for the kids who walk up there and flip flops and jump off cliffs.
Thank you, Stacy. Look,
Thank you.
we're supposed to, well, certainly afterwards, too, or send me some pics or.
Yeah.
Just
The winner, the last person up on top there.
I'm excited.
Thanks. Hey, so Jim and Brian, you guys are next. You're the mountain bike club. You still call it that?
Yeah, it's a mountain bike race team for us for the high school.
So,
Right. So please introduce yourself. Tell us what you're proposing.
so I'm Brian Wolf with the Connecticut Cycling Advancement Program. Thank you for having us. We appreciate it, and we're hoping to do this again. This would be the fourth year of actually hosting the race. Started in 2017, but obvious cancellations with some rain considerations and COVID one year. So this would be the fourth year. And we would like to host a mountain bike race again on Sunday, June 5th. Basically from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. with different waves going on. They don't necessarily, it's not like the ragged mountain race where they race for the whole time, but different waves race for about an hour or so each. And we'll be partnering again with Jim and the Berlin High School team to do junior categories, categories for kids in high school, as well as adult categories.
You also have children's younger kids too.
Yep, we do like a shortened course there for them, a little out and back loop.
You all see that? Wait, Maureen, that's the Dragon Mountain.
Oh, I got the wrong one up.
Race.
Okay, wait a minute. I thought I Xed out of that one.
We could
I'm
try that one
sorry.
too. I mean, I don't know how it would work, but if you
That was pretty tough to ride anyway.
Let me
Yeah.
just get back. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, okay.
So again, this is from down by the community gardens off Orchard Road there. So you guys go all the way through to the meadows and Bicentennial.
Yeah. It doesn't go through the actual meadow, just, we make that clear that it goes around that area. So people that want to come in and walk their dogs, we will not be interfering anything with that portion for that day. We just have a sign up and we have someone stationed there. There's a marshal there to let them know that, hey, there's a race that's happening right now, so that they know what they're seeing go through.
Good. And so a similar question for the Ragged Mountain thing, the parking. How do you handle the parking again?
Yep, we were up the two streets that are across, kind of like catty corner across the,
Linden Drive and Summitwood.
Yep.
So we'd worked with a police officer before too on the crossing on Orchard Road there, kind of as they come off, and we park them on one side of the road.
and it's announced beforehand that they have to park on one side of the road. The police put up signs the previous years and they didn't do it last year. So that could be a great recommendation for them because that helps, it actually helps themselves out because people generally don't park on that side of the road if they put the signs up. But we also, the team also goes and knocks on every single door, and we put a flyer and let them know that we're coming on. The race is going to happen this time, and expect cars to be parked. And now I've done it so many times that the people are like, yeah, we know. What's the day?
All right, so you got a friend over at that end too, right?
Yeah, they've always been super nice. They've never. I said, if you let me know if there's any issues, they've never said anything to me. So I'm assuming there hasn't been an issue with the parking.
Never heard anything. So, good. That sounds good. And the same considerations with the walk around after the event with the trail repairs and maintenance and that
Yep.
sort of thing.
Of course,
Yep,
yeah.
absolutely. We walk the entire course, and whenever, if there's anything that's noticeable, we take care of it. We bring our rakes and shovels and take care of it.
Just a couple of things. First of all, yeah, these folks have been good partners over all the years and have been very responsive. So there's no objection on that part. And I had objections, frankly, their first year, but they've been very responsible. The only thing I will note is that you said, Jim, you said June 5th,
Yeah,
and that's a Sunday.
correct. It was on Sunday last year. Yep.
Okay, just know, and this isn't a deal breaker at all, but that is the second day of Connecticut Trails Day. I don't know if the CFPA is planning any organized walks out there, but there have been walks on that property for Trails Day before. It's just something to know.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll have to take note of that. So, yeah. Okay.
I believe we were piggybacking the same date from last year. Is that right, Brian?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know. Did it happen last year?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember.
I don't think there were
No,
anybody walking the
I
trails.
don't think it's happened in the last 2 years, but
That's true.
we'll deal with it if it happens. Okay.
Okay.
Again,
It may be, I don't know who does this, but it may be worth a call to CFPA. Yes. Just to make sure that they don't schedule something for that. I don't know if I don't think it's necessarily our purview, but that just might be because they publish a big book and they do a whole lot on their website about,
Right.
they do 400 walks or something across the
Yeah,
state.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you probably wouldn't want them to schedule one on that property on that day.
Right.
Most
Okay.
of them happen on Saturday.
Yep.
That would just a thought.
Thank you.
Yeah, usually Jim Maloney usually seems to be important. So when that happens,
Mhm.
that happens.
less so now that he's not.
Right, and I saw stuff scheduled that I
Maybe
didn't know
an area.
about last year. That, yeah, I didn't even know that was happening, because they kind of, right, they whoever wants to can schedule an event.
Claire is the one to
Yeah,
contact.
right, Claire Kane is the one.
Okay, yeah.
But
Okay.
it's just that.
If one of you reaches out to my office, we can give you the contact information.
Sweet. Super easy.
Guy, anything? Mary Catherine?
Yeah, this is Guy Hoffman, Vice Chair. Yeah, I've worked with Jim in the past, especially with the walkthroughs sometimes before and then after. And they've been very responsive for, taking care of any kind of problem areas after the race and everything as far as the trails are concerned. So, also, the group has shown responsibility in the past with a cancellation with the rain, and not doing it when it may cause damage to the trail, which, was talked about ahead of time. So,
Yeah. And we'd be following the same industry standard of 1 inch within
Yeah.
24 hours of the race. So just for clarity on that too.
Yeah. So I have no problem with supporting this for this year coming up.
One additional reminder that that is where the community garden is, and that's just getting into the, real thick of the season there, so you'll have to share some area there too.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
always save a spot in the parking lot. There's probably at least 5 car parking spots, and we could make more if necessary.
Yeah, that'd be great, thank you. So as you'll be in touch with Maureen and, I don't know if it's Jim or Brian, but when you send the email, remind Maureen about the request to the PD about the signage, park on one side only. So
Yep.
Absolutely. And for the CFPA.
Yeah.
Connecticut Forest and Park Association.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Motion.
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the 2022 fifth
Yep.
mountain bike race on Hatchery Brook and Bicentennial on June 5th.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Thank you, Guy. I'm sorry.
Yes, aye.
Thank you. So moved. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Good luck.
Okay, well, thank you so much. We
Yeah,
appreciate it. We'll be in touch.
thank you. We totally appreciate your support, and we will definitely take care of the trails.
Well, we appreciate the respectful the outdoor recreation. So,
Awesome.
Of course.
Thank you.
kids out there.
Take care. Have a good night.
I'm doing my best.
Thank you. So gotta go back into the regular order. Did everybody read the minutes from last meeting? And I know you had a couple of comments.
From the last meeting, from the minutes?
Minutes.
I have one real quick.
Probably made this 2 weeks ago. I thought you changed it.
Under Eagle Scout proposal, this is just technical, it's a typo. I believe the second line of Eagle Scout proposal, Jameson Evans should say, second line, many campouts have been done there. It says, many campouts have been done there. And I think that means, I know that there are people that wish that campouts don't happen there. But
Okay, other than that, typo or anything else? Acceptable. Minutes as modified. So move. Second. Thank you. All in favor of accepting the minutes as modified?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. So move.
So I am actually just trying to contact Jim Mahoney, who accepted the meeting and is supposed to be on. He does often have some connection issues and takes him a few minutes, so he may end up joining just by a telephone. But we'll see how quickly he gets on. So I just texted him. Yes. I can move to a couple of the other things if you like, or I can start with the Spanx property and do my best to cover it. Okay, so if I go down to the P and Z application comments, the first one was no I wouldn't have routed to Conservation Commission, most likely. It's just a use, and it actually was already heard by the Planning and Zoning Commission the other day, last week at their meeting. The second is also a modification to an approved plan and already improved area. That's the one for, oh, actually, it's not the one I was looking at Farmington Avenue. The one I was looking at, I'm thinking of a different one that they approved, which is next to Focus. The one labeled as number 2 here is also a modification, just architecture and design modification only, already an approved plan. So I think all of those are probably not applicable to Conservation Commission. And I would suggest that Jim's on, so if you'd rather move back to his, or rather the proposal that he has more information, or we can keep going. Tell me.
Hi, Jim. Can you hear us?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, good.
So you're up.
Okay. So I guess there's a couple of items. One is we're pursuing the acquisition of the part of the Svens property on Reservoir Road with the purpose of making a connection from Timberland to Reservoir Road. It's kind of it's been part of the plan of conservation and development to improve that connection. Right now, the Metacomet Trail goes over Short Mountain, but it goes, through several private properties, comes down the north side of Short Mountain through properties in Southington, then across through George Briley's and up to Ragged. So this would provide a direct connection from Timberland to Reservoir Road. Again, it's a long-term proposition. It's nothing that we need to think about having to do a trail through there right away. But I think it's important that we try to protect the paths of the through trails that go through town. And like I said, this has been on the radar for a long time. The property is available for sale. What we're planning on doing shows in the diagram is there's 2 existing lots, one smaller, one's larger, and we would divide it so that they'll create 2 new lots that would be compliant with the underlying zone, and then the 40-foot strip along the Southington property line. And then we would put the trail essentially through the middle, well, actually not through the middle, 10 feet from the Southington line, and a 10-foot swath is where we would put the trail. And then Carl, I don't know if Carl's on, but Carl, you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, well, he's the man. So Carl did some scouting of the trail, and I'll let him explain further. But as a result of that, we're also pursuing an easement along the south boundary on the to the south of the wetlands in order to avoid that steep section of slope that is adjacent to where the 40-foot strip is. So that would give us a more favorable path to get into Timberland. Maybe Carl might want to expand on that.
Well, no, Jim said it, but you can't really get down where the yellow section is. That's the 40-foot section that Jim was talking about. It's impossible would be impossible, as you can see by the type. Contour lines there. That's not going to be conducive to taking a trail down. In fact, the existing Metacomet Trail, which is west of that, comes down in a little chimney or something. It's one of the only places along that cliff that can come down and then roll into that valley and across Hart Brook there. So what I did, and what I think one of the other town folks did, was to bushwhack off of the existing and in places illegal loop path and come down a little bit to the east where it's not so precipitous, and the trail would still have a hard time, but it can zigzag down, switch back down, and then hit the floor of that little valley, and then head to the west along the property, the existing property line, or close to the brook. And in that way, you can actually use that 40-foot strip there. But Jim had it right. That's it. That's about it.
And just to give you an idea of where we are in the process, we did get authorization to have the town manager sign an agreement. That was before we decided we needed the easement. So we're trying to renegotiate a little bit around the easement once so I expect hopefully that'll be resolved before the March meeting of the council, because we didn't resolve it today. So it's not going to be on the meeting next week. So we resolve that, then we get it under contract. We'll do, we're going to do the survey and an environmental title search and handle a lot line revision. So that's the game plan. So hopefully we'll get launched on this on March 1st with, toward the execution of the purchase and sale agreement.
Sounds good.
We initiated the 824 with the initial authorization. So hopefully, the Conservation Commission as well as the Planning and Zoning will give it a favorable, and then, we'll just keep trying to move it.
So looks like there's contour lines in the back of each of those lots. So is it kind of where it'll meet the 40-foot strip?
Can I?
Do you want to, you want to do a pointer?
Oh, the pointer. Here's this one. So I can't right now see exactly where the
I think where the two lots are going to be made.
right here. This. So what's going to have to happen approximately, and Jim, you can correct me, right? But there's an existing circle trail, right, and it goes into Southington and trespasses illegally over here. But basically, it goes like this, right? And we're going to have to come down here, go this way to get to there.
Right.
Approximately. And I could have brought, if I had known, I could have brought a GPS track of exactly what it is. But the fact is that, you can't come down this. This is impossible. Basically that's a cliff. I mean, I suppose you could put a rope there or something. But other than that, you got to come down over here. You just have to.
What is the 40-foot strip? What is that like?
Other than that, it's pretty cool. It goes, it undulates a little bit, but it's totally walkable. There may be some wet. Well, certainly it's going to have to be bridged. Hart Brook, which is the brook that runs in there. It's a beautiful little valley and one of the quietest places in town, really. But it's going to have to be bridged in, I think, one place, effectively one place. And there may be, and Jim can maybe say even more than this, there may be a little bit of an occasional, what do they call it? Like a seasonal stream. But nothing that's going to preclude, a cliff will preclude the trail, but nothing on that, I don't think, will preclude the trail. If it needs to.
Yeah, it's going to require the bridge and bog bridge sections. And, we've communicated a little bit with Connecticut Forest and Park, told them we're working on it. So hopefully, they'll be working with us to get this done in the long run. So like I said, it's going to be step by step, but the first important thing is to, secure the rights so that we can make the connection, and then we'll have time to work on it over time.
It looks like a great idea. So, the thing that I always think is important too, especially when you've got adjacent property owners, is we need to have permanent markers placed along that boundary so that there's a clear delineation of what's the town's line and what's their line.
Yeah, we'll get some marks with this when we get it surveyed. So then, just kind of extending the thinking a little bit. One other thing that we are starting to work on is kind of Sanctuary Lane and Wigwam, where the town abandoned Wigwam, Sanctuary Lane dead ends. And when we abandoned it, then there was, we deeded the right of way to abutters, and one of the abutters on both sides was the New Britain Water Company. So, and we think we're gonna get a title search, but we think that the, we retain the rights to pass. But the way the right of way, the old wigwam right of way was, it seems to go through some water now. So we're gonna have to work with City of New Britain on that, which I've already started some conversations. So, so that's, another future project, might be a neat little loop trail that we can create up in there between Ragan and Timberland. Yeah.
I'm gonna be, I'm walking that Saturday from Reservoir Road to West Lane.
Then Carl can give us a
Over
report.
here.
Yeah, well, can you do your title search before then? Because I don't want to get arrested.
Probably not, no.
All right, well.
We have that map that says we have the rights, we retain the rights. We just want to confirm it with a title search.
We're gonna go up there under the guise of checking it out for search and rescue purposes, because people actually do get lost on that.
Yeah, you can see where it cuts across the little section of water there. So, yeah, not there, but below, yeah.
Down here.
No, to the east.
Right here.
No, the other way.
Oh, sanctuary.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then the line that go, yeah, so that's what we're talking about. Then
Okay.
once we get past the lower or the
Right.
upper Harts Pond there, then or lower Harts Pond, then it's Timberland anyway, so, or Ragged Mountain, I mean, so it's just getting past that water department property. Then we also, Carl and I also got an email tonight. I don't know if you looked at it yet, Carl, but
I did.
FPA, and they're talking about doing a project in Timberland, a little trail relocation.
Yeah.
So I can't orient to where exactly that is yet. So that's just another thing it's on the radar.
The interesting part about that really quick is that, the speculation is that Edgewood Road connects, there's that hardened road right there, which is, I think, part of what they're talking about working on. And that used to, I think, connect to what is Wigwam Road now, which is what is Sanctuary Lane. That was one road a long, long, long time ago. So it's kind of an interesting take on that. I'd show you if you had like the old map.
Right.
That's not germane.
Yeah, I mean, George
Sounds like a
Brierley,
field trip time.
Oh, yeah, it's fun.
George Brierley owns the property in Southington, Georgia, Maryland, where the trail goes up to Ragged Mountain. So I think their intention is to provide an access. So that's, so once if they can do that and we can do this, then you kind of, you've protected that connection, which is, I think, pretty important.
It's all good. That's good. Thank you, Jim.
You're welcome.
It's Guy Hoffman, Vice Chair. Just real quick, that, so you're hoping that the connection and the significance of that connection is really hiking the other roads up and into Ragged Mountain?
I think it's follow it. First of all, it's connecting to the existing trail to the west there. So, that section through Southington, that's kind of west of Timberland, it goes through a bunch of private properties. So, that's always at risk. And there were some properties posted up there in the past that, no trespassing and such. But so this kind of secures the route of the trail in that area. And then, then again, the second piece of it is to make, potentially this connection through Sanctuary Lane and Wigwam, which would be, a whole nother thing.
Okay, because, yeah, I'm still trying to picture like the connection to the existing trail and what that would take.
Well, you see the properties on this map, you have the town line. So you have the small lot and then the big lot, right? So we're gonna be right there, right? So that section, you know, when you leave Timberland, the existing trail section, when you leave Timberland, and get to Cary Street, I guess. So this is gonna be an alternate path. So you go to Reservoir Road, Cary Street, hang a left, and then take a right, and it'll be, you know, so
But you still have to come up with a connection inside of Timberland.
yeah, that's, you know, we have to make the trail connection there, yeah, but we have, you know, we have Timberland, so we have to do a new trail there, yes.
Okay, because when I first saw this, I was kind of going like, I agree about like being able to connect up. I thought maybe the connection that was trying to happen was with the other property to the north, and you have those four lots
Yeah,
across the way, but I mean, you don't have any parking for this spot, so that's what. And I didn't hear any talk of parking for this trail, so
Guy, can I ask?
it's not something that's gonna offer up, you know, like a big time access just from that connection. It's really to get you over to the other trail.
right.
Let me just make sure, Guy, I just wanted for clarification, make sure that we're talking about the same thing here. That it's my understanding that what we're talking about here, which is the 40-foot connection into Timberland, that has no parking either way as it comes across Cary Street now. And in fact, it's posted and you have to park all the way up across Atkins Street, the climbers do. But this is just securing a permanent right of way rather than going over and through some private property over in Southington. That's the virtue of this. It does not add parking, nor is it intended to do so. It just secures a permanent right of way. Am I right on that, Jim?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now this over here, you know, this over here is an ancient way. Whether you buy my theory that it used to run all the way to Edgewood or not my theory, but this is an ancient way. It also doesn't add any parking, but it does add an interesting connection and connects to a whole bunch of cool open space as well, and somewhere that is not accessed except by people who are very, very lost right now.
Could be a cool loop trail, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's a bunch of cool things going on here. So I just wanted to make sure we were talking about the same thing, just for my clarification.
You did all you want. Down a little. That helps anybody.
Jim, you don't need anything from us on this. You're just moving ahead with the town.
We don't need it. You know, it's always good if, you know, to have the support of
So
the commission.
we'll be bringing this to the 824. I held off on bringing it to the Planning and Zoning Commission until after the Conservation Commission, so that we, if the Conservation Commission had an endorsement or not of it, then I could share that with the Planning and Zoning Commission in their 824 review, to then go back to Town Council, and then the Conservation Commission is part of the process.
Unless it was a big
All right, so, well, we need a motion for an endorsement then. I think we're all feeling good.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to support the acquisition of easements and whatever property that Jim talked about. You can clear that up for me, in order to support a permanent trail, a corridor from Timberland Park to Reservoir Road.
That sounds good. Thank you, Tom. Anybody else? All in favor of that motion to support this acquisition? Aye.
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 Thank you. Unanimous?
I'm seeing unanimous.
Yes. Thank
All
you.
right.
Jim, did you also watch for anybody else, guys? I know you had some questions, but about the potential wood lawn. I don't know what to call it, but the Woodlawn Well site, potential open space project. Trail
Sure.
project.
So, as you're aware, we had a study done. I don't think we have the final, I think I sent Maureen the draft, but by FHI. And they're indicating that there's good potential, for some open space there. It's, has limitations, obviously. The next step would be really a joint use authorization from the Connecticut Department of Health. So what we'd like to do is, again, get the commission on board, supporting it, then tell the council what's going on, get their support, and then go to the water control and ask them to submit an application to the Department of Health, and then goes through that process. And someday, hopefully, we get a okay, and then we take the next steps. Now, we realize that one of the constraints there is access and parking, because there's access, there's a driveway, I guess, from Woodlawn to the water tower, but we don't have an easement there, which I think we should have anyway. And there are certain other places that we might be able to access the property, but I think this is a step-by-step process in my mind. So I think it's a good, we've seen, you had others open space potential in the area with the 404 Berlin Turnpike project, et cetera. And this, we've got a lot of residential units that are being developed in this area. So it'd be nice to have a little open space specifically there. And so I'd like to, hopefully get your support to take the next step and get the Water Control Commission to submit the application. And then, if we get that approved, then we've got to pursue, and we'll pursue in the meantime, the easement, because we should have it anyway. And assuming that we can secure the easement, then someday when it gets in the queue and we think it's the top priority, then I can try to make the improvements that are recommended in the study to create a little open space area there. And I guess fishing is something that happens out there at the old Sportsman's Pond.
I think, well, our concerns from our last meeting are pretty much the same, at least access is important, and off-road parking is key. As it is for every place, every one of our open space areas. So that's pretty important to us.
Yeah, again, this is a kind of a step-by-step process. So, if you want to endorse, hopefully you'd endorse this, going to the next step. But, if you want to endorse it, subject to working out appropriate access and parking, that's reasonable.
And I think, if I can, I would be willing to endorse this moving forward. I don't think it costs us anything to endorse it. And, I said enough about it last month. But, Sportsman's Pond is something, we have struggled since I've been on the commission. That's a piece of open space that, is completely underused. There are fishermen there. So.
And there will be access from the two developments on the turnpike? Public parking and access?
So we're looking at right now that the project that's on this site and goes up to here and discussing, they're under review now by the Planning and Zoning Commission. So if the Conservation Commission wants to comment on, exploring the possibility of public parking there, that would be taken into consideration by the Planning and Zoning Commission as well. I don't think they're opposed to it. They are looking right now to, after the consultant reviews of the project, to reduce some of the parking that they've proposed. So they are likely to have some area that they can, necessary parking for their uses. They don't need, their plan seems to be over parked. So they can probably afford to offer some spaces. The project further to the north does have the public parking on their southerly site, which is right here. There's some parking that is designated for public parking and access to trails they'll be creating. The problem with getting over to here is to the Sportsman Pond site is there's likely going to be needed substantial bridging and yeah, no, the federal agency that has to look at this. Army Corps work that would have to be done according to several sources to make a connection to over the river. So that's just in the future again. However, the endorsement throughout the process of the different developments coming was the ability to create an eventual through connections of open space that, you know, then you've got that, those accesses secured for future as well.
Yeah, I think it's a long-term proposition for the bridge, but this, you know, the Woodlawn site itself is pretty much, you know, is much more feasible in the, you know, short, medium term. And on the long term, if, you know, you can also, there's a good possibility that we could get all, you know, get all the way to Deming Road because there's a right of way, the old, you know, there's a railroad right of way. And that's owned by Metro Realty, and Metro also owns Fieldstone Crossing, and the town also owns the trailer park there. So you have, you know, if you could do it, you know, you have quite a few residential units in that area. It would be nice for them all to have some open space access.
Yeah, that could be a real long-term goal. So my only comment, from my perspective, would be that for the that 404,
That's the northern one.
Okay, that's 550.
550 is this one.
Yeah, if they're, you know, I would hope that, you know, as being good neighbors, if they're gonna have access to be facing down on open space, that they would provide some dedicated public parking as well. So I'm sorry, did you make?
No, I'm just, Jim, I'm not asking you to make the motion for me, but I just want to get the right, if I'm going to make the motion, the verbiage on how to support this, this first step.
I could say, you know, basically that the commission supports having the Water Control Commission make an application to the Connecticut Department of Health for joint use of the property as both open space and water supply. And if you want to make it subject to, you know, well, I would say that's, you know, that you don't have to make it subject to anything. It's just.
Yeah, I don't need to make it subject to anything because I can't remember even the first half of what you said. But I'll make a motion that the Water Control Commission recommend to the Connecticut Department of Public Health dual use for that property. Is that what you said?
Joint. Yep.
Joint. Yeah. Fix that. Fix it in the mix.
Good job.
I'm trying to be-
Second.
Thank you, Tom. Jesus. You're gonna endorse that.
This is Guy Hoffman. I still have a couple of questions on this. So can I get those in before we get to the vote?
Yeah.
So has this property then, or how long has this property been underwater commission control? I mean, it showed up when I started on the commission as an open space property that the Conservation Commission had kind of in its books, you know, and commented on and had recommendations for and stuff, just like the other open space properties. I always looked at this as the water commission had the water tower in there, and that was pretty much what they had control over. So have they been, you know, controlling fishing and access to, and just allowing access to the property?
To my knowledge, first of all, to my knowledge, the, you know, like I'm looking at the plan of conservation and development from 2013, and it designates it as a town use property, not as an open space property. So, but, you know, obviously the water tower has been there a long time, the town, you know, so we're talking, you know, I don't know how long, 50 years, whatever it is, you know, and, you know, I don't think, you know, I don't think any effort was ever made, to my knowledge, to actively use it for open space. So we're kind of trying to get that going with this effort.
Well, I mean, it was in the 94 stuff as far as open space properties and recommendations and stuff for properties.
Maybe, you know, I wasn't around in 94, so I don't think it was designated in 2003, but again, what's the, you know, the maps, who made the maps, who made, you know, who put that color on that property and what, you know, it's again, it's been, as I think we know, that it's been a water control property, you know, because it's used for that purpose.
Might have changed when they were looking into utilizing that well with that whole New Britain water thing years ago, and
Right.
then they pulled back on that.
Yes.
Maybe that's what.
So,
Yeah, so I haven't done the title search, but you know, or that, but from a practical point of view, it's considered, it's considered a water control property, and you know, on the state, I believe it's on this, you know, again, the State Department of Health plan, and that's really why we got to go to them.
okay. So if it ends up being joint, are we then responsible for a plan for water access, fishing, whatever, boating on this pond?
We're just, you know, I guess we're not responsible for anything. We have the opportunity to, you know, offer to try to advance. And we do have a concept that was done by FHI that, you know, might be, it's a starting point for that. And then it would be up to everybody as we go forward to decide what we want to have happen there.
Yeah.
And try to make it
I
happen.
mean, the property's very wet, and
Yes.
it was noted in there. There's really limited areas for access. For me, I mean, it left on its own, it wouldn't have been a big priority. It seems like it's a priority because of the recent approvals for development in the area. For me, I'm only in favor of it if there's public access that for everybody in there. I don't necessarily like the idea of you know, going through this process to make it an open space parcel so that some apartments and you know, condos or whatever can have a park in their backyard that you know, is kind of theirs without equal access for the rest of the town residents. I'm concerned about how it's going to be used. There's still the building off to the east, what is it, the 550 still has wetland areas in between, that they have to, that for access off of the backside of their property. I'm not so sure that they're staying out of all of that with that plan. That's the only thing for me is that I want to make sure that the next step is that we know what we can do for true public access for it. For all
Right.
town residents.
So I guess two things. One is in terms of the access from 550 project, obviously they can't go and make any improvements or use the property unless the town lets them. So, we have control over that. And then, as I said, I mean, we're just talking about step 1A here. So if the health department doesn't approve, then there's nothing to talk about. But if they do, then, we have a concept from FHI. I think you have a concept, another sketch, maybe, I don't know if you can show it, Maureen, with that concept.
Yeah.
And, so we have a concept.
It-
We know that's the wetlands.
That's the wetlands one.
Yeah.
It's got the yellow lines and the
Yeah.
pink
Yeah.
or purple.
Yeah.
We saw it last month. I'm
Yeah.
just, the last month or the month before. I
Yeah,
don't
it's just,
think-
and that is pretty limited use, and it recognizes the wetland areas and stuff. And yeah, we have to work through all that if we get to that point. But it looks like, there's some potential.
Guy, Maureen did make a note that when she's bringing it to planning commission for their A24 review, that are concerned about public access and parking from the.
Mhm.
So she did make that note.
Okay.
It's a valid concern.
Sure.
Not immediately finding that, Jim. I thought I had it and I had the wrong one.
That's okay. I think, everybody remembers.
Yeah, it was with 2 meetings ago, I think we first saw it, and then
Right.
Okay.
Remind everybody, and we don't have access secured, but we did for this property at the end of Fuller Way, request that they consider whether they'd grant parking at some point or in some way as they finish their redevelopment of that property. Again, it's a private property ask, but that was something that was talked about as well. So these are all things to pursue other ways to get to the property. And they weren't negative about it. They just weren't sure how to do it securely and liability they were concerned with. Their proposal is restoring some of the things, some of the encroachment that the previous occupant of the parcel had done. So they're working in a positive direction. It's, it wouldn't meet today's wetlands standards probably, but they are restoring some of that in order to stay away from the wetland a little more than was encroached upon.
That was I think, correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't know if anybody knows, but I believe the big part of Sportsman's Pond there is a brickyard pond or a quarry pond of some part. And then the smaller node to the north, that actually, I don't know if that was or was not a brickyard pond, but that was actually a sportsman's club 100 years ago or so.
Well, Guy, you have any more comments, Guy?
no, I'm all set.
Good comments. So the motion, all in favor of the motion as verbalized by Carl? So I look a little. Aye. All opposed?
I think. I
Mary
didn't see how
Catherine?
Mary Catherine.
I'm sorry. Yes, if you can hear me, I'm not sure. Okay.
Okay, yes, thank you. All right. So
Okay.
moved. Unanimous again.
So that's unanimous. Okay.
Anything else, Jim?
Just to update that, we did get approval for the bridge to connect Town Hall Complex, or the trail to connect Town Hall Complex to Percival Field. Obviously, the Boy Scout already built the bridge, so Earth Contractors was approved to do that work, and hopefully we'll have some good conditions sometime this winter or early spring to get it done, and that'll be nice.
All right, good.
All the way up.
That's always good.
I don't know what else. I thought there was a fourth thing, but you guys all know, the effort to try to relocate the parking out on Chamberlain Highway, Pierre's parcels and all that, and Carl has been out at the meetings, and that's in the works, but I don't think there's any update. I know our lawyers and their lawyers have talked, but nothing moving on that at the moment that I know of.
No, they're just working on looking at the legal documents to make sure there's nothing that precludes the relocation, because you're changing from one parcel to another.
Okay, good. Anybody have any questions for Jim while he's still here? Jim, thank you for.
Thank you all.
Logging in. Appreciate it. Thanks for the updates. Stay
Have a
well.
good evening.
You too.
Thanks, Jim.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, so Maureen, I'm sorry, back to the P and Z. I went through a bunch of them.
Okay, so we went through 1 and 2. 3 is 401 Berlin Street. Stancom is actually the LLC, has an excavation permit to remove
We did that one.
soil, and I believe you guys did that a couple of months ago, so we just wanted to verify because it's still held off on Planning and Zoning Commission until March 3rd, because it had to go to wetlands first. An update on Shuttle Meadow Country Club's parcel with its preserve multifamily development proposal. That public hearing was opened at the last Planning and Zoning Commission meeting last week and continued to March 3rd. So that's just an update. No changes there from previous discussions. The next item is 309 Main Street, East Berlin. That's an old home that's right next to a multifamily development that was done a couple of years ago on the corner of Mill Street and Main Street. This is the next parcel north on at 309 Main Street. There at one time was 2 houses there. One of the houses was removed. The house that's there is a 2-family. We initially got in the proposal just a week or so ago for 20 units. They've now modified it for 22 units so that they can provide 4 affordable units, but they do have to go to wetlands first. And I don't know that I have those updated plans yet. And I'm not ready for it, but they're going to wetlands, and then they won't be going to Planning and Zoning Commission until their April meeting. So we have the March meeting that this commission can discuss it at. If that's all right with you guys, I'd rather give you better information. That's it for Planning and Zoning Commission items.
And does the river run behind that?
It does. There's about half the parcel is wetlands. Let me just pull it up for you if you don't mind. I think I love having the map. It tells a million words, as they say. Let me get there. I hate this. I gotta go to this map to see where I am. Okay, there's the fairgrounds. Down here. Nope, not there. And here. There we are. In the parcel, you can see it's this parcel here. Parcel, it's this yellow parcel here. Quite deep, goes all the way down to the river. right now we have these 3 residential units. This is far more improved from what it was. This house is the 2-family we're talking about. And then I'm not sure how accurate the wetlands are on this map, but we'll try. You know, the wetlands are back here. There is a buffer. Just real quick, the bulk of the development will be like a small road going in with attached units circling it, small clusters, 2 to 4, I believe. I don't think any are more than 4 clusters, and some drainage systems in the furthest to the east on the parcel. Again, I can bring that back up when I have the map. And we get the new maps from them. That's it for the Planning and Zoning Commission items.
Okay, thank you. You said you had something on the garden?
I do. So we have started to get inquiries for this year for garden applications. Already, we told people that, well, I think we put it on the February agenda, people. So, but I did reach out to Carol Gooden, who did such a great job last year. I'll say she did a great job. I think everyone agreed with that. And she is willing to coordinate again this year, looking forward to it. So she hopes that's endorsed. And Woody has already started the behind the scenes prep for the solar panels, the batteries, etc. He does have the new ones. He has the new solar panels all set to go, and really thinks that this year if the garden should go along without a hitch as far as water goes, which will be a welcome relief to, I think, this entire commission to not discuss that water for a while. I'm going to suggest in conversation with Woody that the garden be unlocked for April 1 and go through the first November weekend so that it's locked up on the first Monday in November. And that schedule of April 1 to November, the first weekend of November, coincides with the other fields that the town oversees and the porta potties approximate delivery and removals.
That was my next question. So you have porta potty scheduled for April.
They do that. It's all done through public grounds now. We don't do that at all. They handle it so that it's all one contract.
Perfect.
And I would like to suggest that we open up the garden applications as soon as Fran and I can get them online. Open up the applications, and my suggestion is that any of the existing gardeners whose applications we receive on or before February 28th are considered early bird and can have their plot, but any applications we receive from others from that date on March 1st on, just processed in order of receipt.
When you say have their flat, so
Yeah.
we have this every year, so you can't reserve a plot, right? So
No, you can't.
So they've had the experience of if they re-upped for a plot early during early bird, then they had the opportunity to request to get their plot again.
request the plot.
That doesn't mean they get their plot.
Right, there's never a guarantee, right?
Right.
They're just guaranteed a plot for early bird.
I understood it was the plot they had, but I could be,
By default, maybe that's the way.
and I
it's
guess that's
working out.
probably the way it works.
You know, 'cause I don't think there's a whole lot of people that come in early bird, but well, actually, Franny probably knows better than any of us because she's the one that deals with it on a regular basis. Which I guess by default, if somebody comes in early bird,
It's supposed to be like a public community garden, so is it fair to even have early bird?
to kind of,
I don't know if we've ever called it early.
I know, usually there was.
That's
a
the way it
date
was
that-
on the application when I
Really?
started. It
Yeah,
was
usually it's
called
a
a-
date that they can start applying and it goes from there. At least that's what it had been.
But I do remember us allowing people, previous gardeners to apply first.
Yeah, that I don't recall. It might have changed since I gave up doing it, but we never had that.
Right.
And then if you had 10 applications and 5 of them are new, and then the 11th wants their plot, but it's already been given away, you just really should never say you can have the same plot.
I think that's on our rules. That
Yeah,
says
it is.
that,
Yeah,
But I think by default, if they happen to 10 people come in and they're all
The gardeners.
with the back for their stuff. Didn't we talk about something?
Just the fact that a lot of people, they winterize their plot really well and do everything right. We didn't necessarily say they would get it. But
Exactly.
The idea was that you would try to.
Exactly. You
Right.
do try,
just
but
because
you
there's
don't
no
promise.
guarantees,
No
right? They're doing the
guarantees.
right thing with that plot.
Right. It's just not a guarantee.
Yeah, I think that's the way it's always been.
Yeah.
So February 28th is pretty quick, so I guess it's coming up. But she's already getting inquiries, so I guess they're ready to go, right? Everybody's getting itchy.
they are. People are getting itchy already. She's answered
Well-
several phone calls this week alone that I overheard.
Wow.
Yes.
Cool.
Rest of us are still got our gloves out.
Exactly.
So there's, well, please, I think officially, I think we would all like to thank Carol Gooden for taking on the task again. Express our gratitude. In fact, I'll make a motion that we express our gratitude to Carol Gooden for being the community garden coordinator again for this coming year. That was a motion.
Second. I thought it was, I was just waiting. to see if
Thank you.
Clause gonna be.
Now, all in favor of formally thanking Carol Gooden, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And Maureen, if you can let her know that she, she always is welcome here if she has any concerns or anything like that. But please make sure you tell her.
I did tell her for this evening that, she, I think I was unavailable.
All right, good, cool.
And those dates are good. Okay.
Yeah, April 1st. I mean, it's been getting warmer every year, so I think people want to get in there earlier, start working the soil.
Some of them that we've heard, even just to clear from getting any weeds taking hold. If it does get, they can keep ahead of them instead of fighting them once they've. I won't comment on what I've heard. That's fine. And then we have the ordinance signs.
So it's just an informational thing that the buildings and grounds and Park and Rec is also doing this on all the fields. That's for informational purposes. One.
Try to get it. There we go. I wanted to get it small enough so you saw the whole sign. Other. And I believe there was a third. Were you guys able to see 3 different signs online? Guy?
Yes.
Three different things. Okay. So. Those were shared with me.
No. Thank you. Anybody else have any comments? Guy, Mary Catherine?
I was wondering why they have the one where it says no pets allowed on ball fields, but they have a person and a pet. Shouldn't there be like an X through it?
Probably would be a bad idea, but I didn't have any input on this, and I don't know why. You're right. That would be the universal symbol, right? But maybe because they're.
I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of contradictory. No pets allowed on playing fields. And then underneath, please clean up after your pet. I don't get it, that one. The other ones are fine. The other two seem fine.
It may, my gut reaction is, and I don't know, I didn't see an email chain with these or anything as far as reading that conversation, but I suspect adjacent areas to playing fields. So, you know, there's a line. So the field itself,
Yeah.
you can't have your pets on, but perhaps there is
Yeah.
areas off the field itself that people can have their pets. So therefore they need to be under control and clean it up. So I suspect that.
You know, I actually remember that because Donna Bove, I think when she was doing something with the Park and Rec Commission and I was online at the meeting. I do think she talked about that and was quite vehement about, we want to respect people's rights to walk their animals, but not on the playing fields. I just kind of thought maybe they'd have two separate signs that would be like right at the playing field, no pets in any way, shape or form. And then somewhere else, maybe where people walk them would have this sign, but whatever. I mean, that's not a big deal. If it works, it works. And there's going to be people that ignore it, unfortunately, but.
But in Sage Park where they have the field, there's usually a wire fence.
Yeah.
They have it there. So it shows you think you can't go beyond the fence where the field is, but you can walk along the edge.
Which I've seen. I've seen dogs in bleacher areas, so that's, you know. We'll see. They don't have any signs anywhere now anyway, so maybe this will do something. So,
That's right.
thank you, Maureen. Anybody else have any comments, questions? Or a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Aye. Have a good night.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Thanks.
Right.
Maybe if we have the signs in German.
Good night, guys.
Good night.